Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a hard look at something really critical.
Yeah, it's definitely at the forefront right now.
It's that intersection, Cryptocurrency governance meeting advanced artificial intelligence.
And specifically, why one of the biggest names, Vitalik Buterin, is sounding a pretty loud alarm.
Exactly. So we've got a stack of sources here. We're going to contrast Buterin's, skepticism about AI governance.
Deep skepticism, I'd say.
Right, deep skepticism with a project that's really built human oversight in from day one. That's the Pi Network.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to get past the buzzwords. We want to understand the real trade-offs here.
We'll dig into Buterin's warnings about letting AI, drive the bus in Web3.
And weigh that against the value and maybe the difficulties of keeping humans in charge. It really boils down to who or what gets the final say.
Because that decision, it's everything for security. Is the system safe or is it wide open?
And this isn't some far-off future problem. Buterin's pointing to a specific technical weak spot.
Yeah, his main point is, pretty blunt. He says, naive AI governance has a high probability of failure due to jailbreak prompts.
And that's our starting point. What does he actually mean by naive AI governance?
Good question.
It's not like he's saying AI has no place in Web3. Not at all.
No.
The danger is this sort of uncritical reliance. Just assuming we can hand over huge decisions, major financial stuff, protocol changes to an algorithm without strong human checks and balances.
It's assuming the tech is infallible.
Exactly. That's the core danger.
Okay, so if an AI gets that kind of power, what's the specific failure mechanism he's worried about? You mentioned the jailbreak attack.
Right. This is where things can really break down. A jailbreak attack is basically a cleverly designed input, a prompt.
Maliciously crafted, you said.
Maliciously crafted, yeah. It's designed to fool the AI to make it ignore its own safety rules.
How does it do that?
Well, these prompts exploit weaknesses that seem inherent in these big language models, forcing them to do things the creators specifically tried to prevent.
And Buterin gave a really vivid example, didn't he? Using multiple languages even.
He did. It's a bit jarring, but it makes the point crystal clear. He said, if an AI controls the money, people will. Well, I'll use his Czech phrase first. Nuda I tu vloží jailbreak plus dnešní věčné peníze.
Whoa. Okay, translate that.
He's saying, they will certainly insert a jailbreak plus give me all the money in as many places as they possibly can.
So using Czech just emphasizes this isn't just an English problem.
Exactly. It's universal. He's highlighting that basic human self-interest, maybe greed, will always push against the security of any automated system, especially one holding value.
And it's not just theoretical. There's actual research backing this up.
Oh, yeah. The sources point to work by researchers like Ada Miyamura.
What did they find?
They showed how new features in models like ChatGPT could actually be misused, exploited, to leak private data.
Okay, so if that's happening with consumer AI.
Imagine the risk for a multi-billion-dollar DeFi protocol run by an AI. The stakes are just astronomically higher.
Right. And it's not just about external attacks, is it? There's this other risk, the centralization paradox.
That's a crucial point. He goes deeper.
How does that work? Web3 is supposed to be decentralized. How could AI lead back to centralization?
It comes down to technical control, really. Think about it. Governing AI models are incredibly complex, expensive to build, need massive amounts of data.
Okay.
So who controls that? Who has the resources, the data, the expertise to build and run these governing AIs?
Probably not everyone. A small group.
Probably. And if that small group controls the AI, maybe the APIs, the hardware, they effectively control the network. It centralizes power through knowledge and access.
So the algorithm itself becomes a single point of control or failure.
Precisely. It undermines the whole decentralization principle. It might even be less decentralized than having a diverse group of humans making decisions.
So for you listening, this isn't just abstract tech talk. It's about the fundamental integrity of these systems.
Absolutely. If a simple, well-written prompt can break the bank, or if control secretly ends up with a few tech wizards,
then the security and stability of everything built on that platform is, questionable at best. Compromised.
Definitely compromised.
Okay, so that's the problem Buterin laid out. Pretty serious stuff. Let's shift gears now. If that's the risk, what does a potential solution look like?
Well, this is where Pi Network comes into the picture in our sources.
Because they've taken a different path from the start, a person-first approach.
That's the idea. It's a really interesting contrast, especially now with these AI warnings surfacing. Pi Network deliberately built human action into its core functions.
Not just relying on code.
Right, not just relying on cold code for security and governance. They actively involve people.
But let me push back a bit here. Pi Network has, what, over 70 million users globally now? That's massive.
It is huge, yeah.
So if Buterin's worried about clever prompts fooling AI, isn't relying on millions of people just swapping one risk for another, like human error, inefficiency, maybe even people colluding?
That's the fundamental question, isn't it? And it's a totally fair challenge. Any system with 70 million participants is going to have latency, human mistakes, maybe bad actors trying to game it.
So what's the trade-off they're making?
They seem to be choosing to accept that operational risk, the messiness of dealing with humans, in order to significantly reduce the existential algorithmic risk that Buterin is highlighting.
How so?
Think about it. A human verifier, looking at context using intuition, they can spot a fake account or suspicious activity in a way that's much harder to fool with just a clever line of text, a jailbreak prompt. Humans are more resistant to that specific attack vector.
Okay, let's get specific. How does this human verification work in practice? The sources mention their KYC process, know your customer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's probably the clearest example. Pi uses a community-based KYC system, meaning the verification isn't done by some central authority or just an algorithm. It's done by other verified community members.
Real people checking real people.
Right. So weeding out bots and fakes relies on this distributed human judgment. It's not solely dependent on an AI detector that someone might figure out how to bypass. This builds trust among actual verified users.
And this human focus goes beyond just checking IDs, right? It's in the decision-making too.
It absolutely does. Big decisions about the network's future, like protocol updates, aren't just pushed out by developers or an algorithm.
How are they made then?
They're put to the community. There are transparent processes, voting, feedback mechanisms. Users have a direct say.
So it injects a layer of democratic control, of accountability.
Exactly. The network evolves based on the consensus of its verified members, not just the logic of code.
Now, underpinning all this human activity, there's still technology. It is a blockchain. What's the tech foundation?
They use the Stellar Consensus Protocol, SCP.
Okay, SCP. Why is that significant?
Well, it's a different approach to consensus than, say, Bitcoin's proof of work. SCP is based on what's called Federated Byzantine Agreement, FBA.
Federated Byzantine Agreement sounds complex. Simple terms.
In simple terms, the network agrees on transactions based on nodes, trusting specific sets of other nodes' known chosen validators, often called quorum slices.
So instead of anonymous miners competing with raw computing power,
You have a web of trust among participants who are ideally known or vouched for within the community.
Ah, okay. So the trust model itself relies on the community structure.
Precisely. SCP is very energy efficient. Transactions are fast seconds, not minutes or hours. But the key philosophical point is that its security is tied to how these validator groups are chosen and trusted by the wider community.
So the tech reinforces the human-centric model.
Absolutely. The technology serves the community model they established first, rather than creating a purely anonymous, code-driven environment.
And this whole structure, the tech and the community focus, allows for that incredible reach, right? The smartphone mining aspect.
Yes, that's been huge for their growth. Lowering the barrier to entry so dramatically, no need for specialized mining rigs or deep technical knowledge.
Just a phone.
Just a phone. That accessibility is what let them scale to, as you said, over 70 million users worldwide.
And that large user base isn't just a number, is it? It ties into their goal.
Right. It feeds directly into building a functional ecosystem. They seem less focused on just pure speculation.
And more on actual use cases.
Yeah, things like the Pi Marketplace, utility apps, getting merchants involved. The aim seems to be creating services people can use in their daily lives, powered by the community and the currency.
Okay, so we've seen Buterin's stark warnings about AI risks and Pi Network's very different human-focused approach. But Buterin didn't just raise alarms, did he? He proposed a way forward.
He did. He outlined a framework he calls info finance.
Info finance. What's the core idea there?
It's basically about redefining the role of AI in governance. A pretty radical shift, actually.
How so?
AI gets essentially demoted. It's not the ultimate decision maker. It becomes a specialized advisor.
Okay, so the AI does the heavy lifting. The data analysis, risk modeling, making recommendations, all the stuff machines are good at.
Yeah, exactly. Crunching the numbers, finding patterns humans might miss.
But then what? Who makes the actual call?
That's the crucial part for Buterin. The final, binding decisions. They must stay with humans. Human juries, decentralized governance bodies, whatever the structure.
So humans have the ultimate veto.
Yes. The tech informs, but humanity decides. That's the key safeguard against the jailbreak risk, even if an AI gets tricked into recommending something malicious.
The human jury can just say no.
Right. They have the final authority and hopefully the judgment to reject it.
He also suggested another layer of defense, didn't he? Something about competition.
Yes, open market competition for different AI models providing advice.
Why is that important?
It's a direct counter to that centralization risk we talked about.
Hmm.
There's only one dominant AI model making recommendations.
Whoever controls that model controls the advice and potentially the outcome.
Exactly. But if you encourage competition, have multiple different AIs analyzing the situation and offering competing recommendations.
Then the human jury gets a broader perspective. They can compare the outputs.
Precisely. It prevents a monoculture where one flawed or compromised AI dictates everything. You get a sort of decentralized way of knowing, a decentralized epistemology, not just decentralized computing power.
You know, when you lay out Buterin's info-finance idea, it sounds remarkably similar, philosophically at least, to what Pi Network seems to have been doing all along.
It really does converge, doesn't it?
Technology serving the community, not replacing it.
That's the core alignment. Both Buterin's proposal and Pi's existing model seem to recognize that in these critical systems, purely algorithmic security might be an illusion. You need human judgment, human accountability.
That adaptability that humans have.
Yes, they both fundamentally push back against the idea that you can just set complex financial or governance systems running entirely on autopilot, on code alone.
So looking forward, where does this AI and blockchain integration go? Are there areas where AI can safely help these human-centric systems?
Oh, definitely. The sources highlight some clear opportunities, especially where you need to process vast amounts of data.
Like what?
Well, think about smarter DeFi strategies. AI could help optimize yield farming or manage risk dynamically, flagging things for human review.
Okay.
Advanced fraud detection is another big one. AI could sift through transactions, spot anomalies that look suspicious, and alert human overseers.
Making things more efficient.
Yeah, and even automated network administration, helping manage resources, maintenance tasks, making the whole operation smoother, freeing up human attention for the bigger decisions.
But there are still hurdles, right? Long-term challenges.
Oh, sure. They fall into a couple of buckets, really. Structural and ethical.
Structural like.
Scalability is still an issue for many blockchains. And there's a big lack of standardization, interoperability between different chains and systems. AI works best with clean, unified data, which the crypto world often doesn't have.
And the ethical side.
That's the ongoing question, isn't it? Even if humans make the final call, how do we define the ethical rules for the AIs providing the advice? How do we ensure they're used responsibly, transparently? That debate is far from over.
So for you listening, maybe you're a developer, maybe an investor, maybe just a user. What's the bottom line here?
I think the practical takeaway is pretty clear. Buterin's warnings, coming from someone of his stature, really lend weight to that cautious, human-first approach.
It validates models like Pi networks, in a way.
It seems to. It underscores that maybe the future isn't about blind faith in algorithms, especially for governance. It's likely more about models that prioritize democratic input, transparency, and actual usefulness for the people involved.
Focusing on real-world application, like Pi's marketplace efforts.
Exactly. That seems to be the more prudent, sustainable path forward compared to purely tech-driven, potentially brittle systems.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the main idea seems pretty solid. The next wave in decentralized tech probably belongs to projects that figure out how to blend AI's power with strong human community oversight.
It's about harmony, not replacement.
Right. Trying to replace humans entirely with algorithms, especially opaque ones, that looks like a recipe for trouble, given basic economics and technical realities.
This partnership model technology advises, humanity decides, feels like the necessary foundation. But, that brings up one last thought, maybe something provocative for you to chew on.
Okay, leave us with something to think about.
If we agree that the big risk is centralization through control of the AI algorithms themselves, the code, the training data,
Yeah.
then how do we govern the creation of those AI models? How do we ensure the development, the testing, the training data itself is managed in a truly decentralized way, even if we have human juries making the final decision on their output?
So governing the tools, not
Yeah.
just how the tools are used.
Exactly. That seems like the next frontier if we're serious about decentralization all the way down. How do you prevent centralization at the source?
A really crucial question, definitely something to mull over. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. We hope this gave you that critical shortcut you needed on the AI and crypto governance debate.
Hope it was useful.
See you next time.